Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to this episode of our show. This is your host, Keith Doherty. Today our special guest is top real estate broker Jennifer Spencer of Spencer Properties based out of Raleigh, North Carolina. Jennifer is the owner of Spencer Properties, has helped 140 families with their home buying and selling needs in 2015. She averaged 2.7 sales each week and grew 39% in volume from the previous year. In March, she celebrated the grand opening of her new office location in Bedford. She received 75-star reviews from her clients on Zillow, Trulia, and Realtor.com, making her one of the top real estate agents in the Triangle in customer satisfaction and loyalty. According to the Triangle Multiple Listing Service, Spencer Properties was the #1 real estate company in Bedford for 2015. Jennifer and her team just received 2 awards from the Triangle Business Journal for top producing team in the Triangle based upon volume and number of transactions. She was also featured in Top Agent Magazine and Midtown Magazine last month. All right, with all that said, Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Jennifer, if we could start for our listeners, what led you into real estate? Was it something that you always knew that you wanted to do, or did you maybe stumble into it?
It was not something I always knew I wanted to do, and I'm surprised that I ended up here, but boy, am I glad that I am. I started off as an investor. My husband and I were buying rental properties and fixing them up and renting them out, and then Interstate 540 came through the farm that my grandparents had inherited, and I suggested to them that we do a 1031 tax-free exchange and roll it over into rental properties. And in order to help them do that, I needed to be licensed. So I got my real estate license and started working with them as investors and other investors, and it kind of evolved into a full-blown residential real estate business.
And can you talk a little bit about what personal attributes, traits, or qualities you think have most contributed to the success that you've had?
I think what has helped the most is just a very clear vision of what we were trying to accomplish. Each year I sit down in November and look at what do I want to accomplish in the coming year, what growth do we expect to see, and how are we going to make that happen. And I do this with my team, and I think it's been that single process that has shaped this firm and shaped my career more than anything else.
I think that's a great point for our listeners of what you said there, and it's to actually map out your goals, like you said. Here's what we want to achieve, and then kind of take it a step back and say, okay, in order to get there, what do we need to do, each month, each week, each day, in order to be able to attain, the goals that you want to hit.
Exactly.
Do you think you can give us an example of when your traits and qualities have played a role in your path towards success?
Well, I think during the recession, that was when I had the greatest challenge in continuing to grow my real estate practice when the market was really tough. And the planning helped. That was one of the activities that helped, sitting down and saying our intention is to grow through the recession, and we did. We grew every year. We gained more market share each year during the recession. But we also took some steps. How are we going to do this? How are we going to do this in the recession? We had to change our business model. We had to think outside of the box and be creative. And I had to really, I talked to my team and said, we've got to really shut down all the negativity out there. And that might mean a fast from media. That might mean in our office we bring an upbeat attitude every day. And I really think that optimism, the planning, and the creativity helped during the recession. And I think that those are traits that are critical all the time. It just really showed up when things were tough.
I think that's great, and I love what you did there because, like you said, when you allow negativity in your life, we talk a lot about mindset, and I personally believe in a lot about mindset, and and just, having, like you said, block out the negativity. Why waste the energy on even, addressing the negative side of things when you can just block it out and focus on the positive, because what you focus on is what you tend to get and attract. So I think that's phenomenal, that you did it kind of agency-wide. You said, hey, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to block this out. We're going to stay the course, and we're going to be positive with everything. And I think, obviously, you able to walk through that is a great testament to having that mindset and implementing it.
Right. I do think it made a difference. And I saw in a lot of offices during that time a very different atmosphere, and it was just, and I think it had an impact. The psychological impact was huge. Yes, the recession was a huge hit, but then you add to that, well, nobody's doing anything in real estate. We just can't. There's not going to be a whole lot of successes out there, and I saw that it made a difference. So we decided to approach it differently.
And obviously, you just kind of talked about having to go through that troubling, that down market. Can you talk a little bit about maybe some of the other adversities or trials that you've had to overcome in order to achieve your goals and have the success you've had?
Well, part of it was moving from an individual solo agent to a team agent, because the skills I had developed were in real estate and sales, and then to get into having a team in order to continue to grow, that was inevitable. It moved, I no longer needed this, well, I still needed the real estate skills and the sales skills, obviously, but now a lot of what I was doing was management of people and leading a team, and that was a whole different set of skills, different skill set, and it was a challenge. I had to do a lot of growing and learning during that transition.
And what kept you going? Obviously you hit these obstacles, you hit down markets, now you have this new, tackling this whole new set of, managing a team and all that. Why didn't you give up? What's your driving force?
Well, I certainly made a lot of mistakes during the process, and I still do. And I think there's a lot of trial and error in that process. But what kept me going is I liked the fact that it was a new challenge. I liked the opportunity to learn and grow. It changed the dynamic of what I was doing every day, and to me that was interesting and exciting. And I found that a lot of the skills that were required to nurture the relationships with our clients were applicable to nurturing the relationships with my team, and I just treated them like clients. They're clients in a way. So there were some things I could build upon, and I started to see some success there, and then to start growing. Really, we started to see some pretty significant growth year after year after year because of the team, and I saw that there was each person on the team. Everybody I hired, I put them in a role where they were better at it than I was when I used to do it. My stager is far better than I was. My listing broker is better than I was. My buyer agents are better than I was. Across the board, each role that we filled, the talent and the specialization was really exciting to see that this is making us better. We're delivering a higher quality product and a better experience to our clients because we specialize. So it's been a very fulfilling process.
Let me ask you, you mentioned putting people in roles that they're extremely good at and proficient with their traits and their qualities, kind of, excel at. Do you do any type of, character testing or trait testing or anything like that to kind of really identify where a person might be an ideal fit?
I do. Before we hire anyone for the team, we have them complete a DISC profile, and that gives us some clues as far as where their strengths are. We also have them do a values profile, and that directs us as well. And we look at their experience. We talk with them about what really excites you, what do you enjoy, what have you enjoyed doing in the past. And I tell every person who joins our team, what you start doing when you join this team will not be where you're going to end up, because as you become a part of this team and you learn more about us and we learn more about you, we're going to see where your natural talents are. We're going to see what really gets you excited, and your role will evolve because I want everyone on this team playing to their strengths.
And I guess kind of, looking forward, what's your vision for the business over the next 5 years?
I'd like to continue to grow, and a lot of that is dictated by the team members. What is it that they want to do individually? We take their individual growth goals and we combine it and say, okay, as a team, we need to do this so that everybody here is reaching the goals that they're hoping to reach. And we want to grow in terms of we want to grow our sales. We want to grow our business. We also want to grow our skills. And what we're looking to do is to grow, but not to grow so much that we lose the intimacy of our firm, the boutique feeling of the firm. So we want to be very careful about how we do that. We want to keep our culture, but still continue to grow as individuals and as a team.
And what do you feel is the best way that you market yourself and obviously the business, as a real estate professional, so you can have continual growth?
The most important thing is social proof. We have, the clients who refer us, the clients who come back to us, the recommendations people make online, if they give us great reviews online. A lot of our clients find us because they say, we've heard great things from clients who have worked with you, either directly from them personally or they've read the reviews online. I
think when it comes to real estate, especially agents, sometimes there's a lot of misconceptions in the marketplace, probably because of the barrier to entry. Some people, just a little bit of training and then you take a test, and some people are part-time, some people are full-time. So I think people view agents in many different lights. What do you think the biggest misconception or myth that people have about working with a real estate agent is?
I think the biggest misconception is people really have trouble seeing the value in what the real estate agent brings, because they say, okay, they're going to put a sign in the yard and put the house on MLS. What else are they doing? I think most, and I'm talking about sellers right now, most sellers don't realize how much more goes into the process for them to net the highest amount at the end of the process. They don't realize that a lot of the value of having a real estate agent comes in after they go under contract, negotiating repairs. There's hundreds of decisions that a seller will make through the process, preparing the house for market, going from contract to closing, negotiating the terms of the contract. All of those play into what they will ultimately net. And it's a lot more complex, I think, than most sellers realize. On the buying side, I think it's the same idea. They look at the real estate agent as the person who opens the door and gets them in and show them the house. And that's really a very small part of what we do. So much of what we do on the buying side is protecting the buyer, making sure that they buy a home that they can turn around and sell if they need to, because they haven't spent too much on it, or they haven't bought a house with a lot of issues and problems that are going to make it difficult to sell. We want to make sure they're investing wisely. So there's more that goes into it than just opening the door and getting you in to see the houses. And I think that the biggest misperception I see is it's the buyers and sellers oversimplify what it is that we do and the value that we bring.
Let's say you get a call from a family member. They're in another state or a friend, and they basically want to sell their home. So like, hey, let's call Jennifer and get some advice. What advice would you give them about selecting an agent that could best serve their needs? Kind of how you make sure you take care of your clients. Now, I understand in real estate that you could look people up and potentially do a referral, but in general terms of advice, what would you tell them to look for in an agent?
I would recommend that they choose an agent that has experience, that's been in the business for a number of years, an agent that does a high volume of transactions each year, because they're going to be much more in tune with what that we talked about, the hundreds of decisions that are made throughout the process. They're going to be able to better advise them if they do a high number of transactions. The average real estate agent sells anywhere from 4 to 12 houses a year. So I would look for an agent that sells much more than that. I would also recommend that they interview 2 or 3 agents to choose one that they feel most comfortable with, hear what they all have to say. And I would also suggest that they choose an agent that is highly recommended by past clients.
Jennifer, if somebody is looking for a real estate agent or real estate services, obviously in the Raleigh, Durham, I'm guessing the Research Triangle area there of North Carolina, what's the best way they can find out more about you and how you can help them?
Probably best to go to our website, which is spencerprop.com.
Excellent. Well, Jennifer, we want to obviously thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come and share all of your real estate business experience with all of our listeners. If you want to learn more about Jennifer, you can obviously visit our site, like she said, at spencerprop.com. Also below this interview, we'll have a link to our website and any other contact information so that you can reach out and see if it would be a good fit for you to work with her. So with that said, everybody, until our next show, have a great day, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.